with goalkeeper Anthony Nash facing Waterford for the second time at this level. Stephen MacDonald has been reinstated at fullback for the first time since the Alliance League final, will Kilkenny fairly well swamp the Rebels. Sean O'Halpine, restored to the panel by Jimmy Barry Murphy, gets a start in his usual left half back berth with Tom Kenny on the opposite flank. 22-year-old Daniel Carney is promoted from the bench for his first championship start alongside Pa Cronin. That's in midfield. And as you've been hearing already, it's Jamie Colin who's in for the indisposed Connolly Hahn, and that's in the half-forward line. And Luke O'Farrell starts at full forward after his man-of-the-match showing in the last qualifying match. That was against Wexford. Alongside me is Michael Dignan. Who are you going to be looking out for in particular in this match, Michael?
Well, I think the performance of Pa Cronin will be crucial to Cork's chances today. I think over the last couple of years he's been one of Cork's best players. Maybe sometimes doesn't do it for the full 70 minutes, but he's a big man, as you can see. Needed to win a lot of ball, maybe in the half-hour line at times, trying to catch puckouts. And with Daniel Carney making his first ever championship start beside him in midfield, I think there's a lot of responsibility on Pa Cronin's shoulders today.
Well, Waterford have had Galway, of course, as their opponents in recent quarter-final matches here in Thurles. So it's going to be interesting to see how Stephen O'Keefe and his colleagues make out against their fellow Munster men this afternoon. Fullback Liam Lawler was one of many Waterford backs missing when the teams met in the Alliance League in February. Kevin Moran was centre back then. Today, Waterford's top man in the Munster final is at left half back. Stephen Malumphy and Philip Mahoney once again start in the centre of the field. The extra fortnight will have helped Philip's brother Porrick, I'm sure, to boost his fitness after recent groin surgery. While John Mullane, as ever, carries much of Waterford's threat up front, he scored 119 in the last 6 major matches against Cork. Michael, your thoughts?
Well, Seamus Prendergast at 11 for Waterford, I think over the last decade has been outstanding for them. It looked like maybe over the last year or two he was, becoming a peripheral figure on the team, but bounced back at the last day under Micheál Ryan. He's now a central figure again. He was outstanding, cleaned out Conor Mahoney, and if he could have pucked over 3 or 4 the chances he had, I think he was man of the match the last day. So I was in Ardmore yesterday in Waterford, and they're very proud of him down there, looking for a big game out of him again today.
Yeah, he's a terrific player. Thanks indeed, Michael. It may be viewed as the weaker half of the draw, but a semi-final meeting with Galway, it may be the prize for the winner of today's first quarter-final here, but that depends on the later result in Thurles. Michael.
Thanks, Ger. We have another short break to take here in the programme at the moment. Cork and Waterford on the way shortly.
Centra, sponsors of the GAA Hurling Championship.
For adrenaline-pumping action, breathtaking fashion and summer festival frolics, the Galway Races. Coverage starts tomorrow at 3:50 on RTE1.
The same hotel? The same pool? But 2 prices. Why pay more? Do the Trivago check. On Trivago, you always find the perfect deal for 500,000 hotels and over 100 different websites. Just select your ideal hotel and Trivago shows you where to book at the best price. Hotel? Trivago.
I wish you could really talk.
Nothing is more powerful than a young boy's wish.
My teddy bear's alive! Hug me!
Helen, get my gun.
But eventually, everyone grows up.
That's my bad. I was sending a tweet.
From the creator of Family Guy.
I wish I'd just gotten a Teddy Ruxpin.
Say that one more time.
Teddy Ruxpin!
I'm sorry. I love you.
I love you too.
Ted. In cinemas August 1st.
The new Super Value range has all the ingredients you need to make this a summer of great cooking.
I'll just get your details. I take it, John, you're male.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you any penalty points?
2.
Oh, my sweet divine. And what's the engine size?
The 2 litre.
Oh, yes!
Fully comp.
No nonsense, Dada-E! Low-cost car insurance. Get the cover you really need for less.
Yep.
Who will be the first of the 4 to make it through from Thurles this afternoon to this year's All-Ireland hurling semi-finals? But that's the issue to be resolved between Cork and Waterford, and the rain, unfortunately, continuing to come down here at Semple Stadium. Gerlach Nan, you've been looking at the Cork forwards. Just to remind people again, Conor Lehane is out of this forward division. He's been ill and replaced by Jamie Coughlin. But about the Cork forwards?
Well, yes, even about Cork in general, they were going so well up to the league final. Two terrific games against Tipperary, real open games, league games where they had plenty of space and time. And there is no doubt about it, the Cork forwards, when they get space and time, they have terrific skill. They don't lack skill, they don't lack athleticism, and any chance they get with the slightest bit of space, the slightest bit of time, they'll put the ball over the bar. I think the big question arises later on. Now, look here, once they get a break of the ball, look at the space Paddy Sullivan has there. There is no doubt about it. They pick off fantastic points. 33 points the last day against Tipperary in the last big match. Now, as well as that, a lot of their forwards are good in the air, which is unusual for Cork in a way. And Cian McCarthy's in there who's good in the air as well. Now, their big problem, of course, look at this for a beautiful score here. They can create space, they get a man in space, and when he has a bit of time, there is no doubt about it, they'll put the ball over the bar. The huge problem arises is when they're put under physical pressure. Now watch here with Conor Lehane in the league final against Kilkenny, and I think this is what shocked them and wrecked their confidence for a while.
Yeah.
The ferocity of the Kilkenny challenge, they just weren't able to cope with it. When the ball comes down here, now watch it's Conor Lehane again by coincidence that gets the ball. Now look what he's surrounded by, 4 Kilkenny men. Hurley's going in on all sides. Now it mightn't be as much of a tackle as an assault, but when the physical stakes are up, they seem to melt away. It's the one area they can't cope with. And unless they have addressed that problem, no matter how skillful they are, no matter how fast they are, they will not win anything until they're able to cope physically with the kind of battering they're going to receive. Maybe not today, it might be open today, but in a semi-final and final, they will receive battering like that. And that's what will determine whether they'll be a successful team or not.
Well, this current Waterford team are well used to physical battles in their forward division in particular, and fellas like John Milan, of course, obviously have battled away for years there for them.
Yeah, you just can't underestimate the importance of John Milan to this forward line. I mean, he's been doing it for over a decade. He's a machine when it comes to scoring, And this time last year in the quarter final here, it was a big match for Waterford. They were after getting a right thumping in the Munster final, and this guy came out in the first half and stood up really every chance he got. And we always, I suppose, you got to measure yourself against the best defence in the country, and like Kilkenny would be classed as definitely one of the best defences. He scored 1-6 in the All-Ireland semi-final last year, and he's built on it again this year. And I think all the time with someone like John Milan in the team, why would you drive 8 or 9 miles half knowing that you have a player the quality of John Milan inside? Because you just got to get him the ball, because when you get him the ball, and here you are in the Munster final this year, in fairness to Seamus Prendergast, great ball winning, but he's looking for John Milan in the corner. He takes a step onto his favoured left-hand side over the bar. He's doing this time and time again, and he's probably going to renew acquaintances with an old friend of his today, and Brian Murphy. A lot of times they've been in this corner here in front of us doing battle. You'll probably see a similar battle today, but I think he's a key player, and if he gets that 1, 3 or 4 today, it's going to be very difficult to see Waterford beaten.
The subs and the selectors are starting to leave the field here. Gerard getting ready to go. Who's going to win this?
Well, as we said, it's so impossible to predict. If Waterford can keep it tight, if they could go back to the type of game nearly they played in 2009, where the wing forwards come back and help out the defence and close down those Cork forwards, then Waterford have a great chance. I think Waterford's big problem is they only scored 5 points in the second half of the Munster final. Now
Okay.
they need to score much better than that today, and if they do, I'd stay with Waterford.
All set to go here at Semple Stadium. Time to head back to the commentary box to hear from Ger Canning and Michael Dignan.
Well, Waterford have won the toss and they've opted to play with the breeze for the opening 35 minutes, but they're under pressure immediately here from Luke O'Farrell. What a stop! And it wasn't finished to the back of the net, but what a very good piece of goalkeeping by Stephen O'Keefe to keep out that first shot by Luke O'Farrell. First attack by Cork very nearly yielded the opening goal of the game. Back come Waterford. Maurice Shanahan. Well driven down. John Milan, the man who can cause so much consternation, leaving it off inside this time. Kevin Moran stopped in his tracks, regains it quickly. Real serious pressure on both sets of defenders in the first two attacks by both teams, but no score so far somehow.
Jared, that was some start. Kevin Moran really could have tapped over an easy point, but there's Kevin. Yeah, Kevin Moran, as you see, good tackling, but he could have tipped it over the bar. But here's the very start of the game. Luke O'Farrell straight through, great shot off the crossbar and back out, and then I think it was flicked off the post then as well on the follow-up. But it could have been a great start for Cork, but lucky enough to get away with it.
And the just married Stephen Mullumphey gets away with it here and kicks it way down the field. Down there, Thomas Ryan comes back here. Prendergast hitting it, and he's put it away to the left-hand side, and he's put it wide.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before the game. Playing brilliantly, but he gets 3 or 4 of those chances in the game. He needs to be putting them over, and if he could score those 3 or 4 points, it could be the difference between the teams at the end, because he gets on an awful lot of ball. Super.
Well, this is a very strong breeze, Michael, for the opening 35 minutes, and Waterford have got to make the use of it. They need to maximise its effects right now. It's all the way up here towards Cian McCarthy, swinging around in over the corner forward's head, but comes to Patrick Horgan, and Horgan gets the opening point of the match, and he really is and has turned out to be Cork's marquee forward in recent times. Slipped in over the head of Paddy O'Sullivan there, came across diagonally, and Horgan got to the end of it. So Cork take the lead on a day when Waterford are trying to bounce back from the adversity of the Munster final loss, and do just as they did 12 months ago against Galway, and we'll be looking to see what the real Cork form line is. Under pressure here from John Milan, and that's a smashing score. John Milan with his first shot, beautifully over, swung it over his right shoulder, and the teams are level.
Yeah, Jared, that's a great score. John Milan switched over from the far corner right across and picked it up and looked at no chance and over his shoulder. He's done that many times. And the game has started off, these games have been so open over the years, but there's a lot of room out there. Pat Horgan had, it was like a challenge match the last ball, and John Milan there, no one really tackling hard.
Well, so much has been said, of course, about the two defences, that they are the weak links, the Achilles heel of both teams, and the forward lines carry so much potential, so much threat.
Yeah, that's the way, during the year so far, certainly did. Cork have been giving away quite a few scores, and there's Stephen Daniels, there was nowhere to go and hit the deck.
And that final shot there comes in from Maurice Shanahan, and he's put it away left, not Maurice Shanahan, it's Thomas Ryan in fact this time, who puts it away left of the posts.
Yeah, this is a young player there with lightning pace. That's his biggest asset, but a shot like that from the sideline, I think John Milan did it a second ago. He thought he was going to do it, but he should have really crossed that back across the square.
Maurice Shanahan, by the way, has gone to right half forward in the switch here. Here he is, getting on the ball, number 12, putting Sean O'Halpine under pressure. I think the tactic may well be, from a Waterford point of view, let's test the pace of Sean O'Halpine at this stage of his career. He's 35 years. Intense pressure. Waterford win it back smartly. Porrick Mahoney this time. Shane Walsh trying to take it. Instead it's taken away here out of defence with a little bit of difficulty by Owen Cadigan initially, and then helped out by Niall McCarthy, wearing number 10 today. He came on the field with number 12, was told to switch back to number 10 as he is on the programme. That's Mullumphey again here inside his own 45-metre line. Real pile-up of bodies here. Barry Kelly, the referee from Westmeath, lets it develop, and it develops with Stephen Daniels taking it out here. The De La Salle man, young inexperienced player, hooped brilliantly, poking it back. It's Niall McCarthy once again, diagonally across over here beyond Horgan, has a chance to go and gallop after this one. Been given a little bit of latitude, nobody near him initially, and a chance to pick off a score, and he's put it wide. That's a poor miss.
Yeah, it was a lovely ball across the field by Niall McCarthy, but the game just seems to be lacking a little bit of passion. You see some, maybe bursts of good tackling there, but there is a lot of room inside, in front of both full forward lines. And you were mentioning, I think, the Waterford backs, under a little bit of pressure against Tip at times, and certainly the Cork backs against during the year are giving away a lot of space as well.
That was a great catch by Park Ronan. That's up as far as Horgan. He missed one just moments ago. Now takes on his man, goes by Connors, fires it in, and it's once again gone to the left. Bit of disappointment for the young captain.
Well, I think you can see the strength of the breeze that you mentioned, Jerry, earlier. That's a couple of chances. Great catch by Park Cronin. We talked about that before the game, but I think Brick Walsh did very well there too. He doubled up on Park Cronin and put a bit of extra pressure on him, and he poked it wide.
Stephen O'Keefe fires it away down the field, taken down by Tom Kenny. Onto it quickly comes Daniel Carney, the SARS player, just 22 years of age. Big one up here to the inside forwards. Despairing defensive work here by Waterford, but it works out, and Liam Lawler can hand pass it out there as far as Kevin Moran drives it in towards his half forwards. Taken in his stride well by Sean O'Halpine. He's made a very good start to the match, turning around here, but hitting it into space, and there's nobody, absolutely nobody at left corner forward, and a chance for the Waterford backs to come across, and for Liam Lawler to link up with his goalkeeper. And O'Keefe, who played in the Under-21 Championship recently against Clare, drives it away down towards Tom Kenny. Over there as well as Porrick Mahoney, who switched, of course, as I mentioned earlier, with Maurice Shanahan. Change of flanks for them. Carney trying to get it away. Run back once again here by Waterford. Play there by the midfielder Stephen Malumphey.
Yeah, Jared, that's great play. He's such a workhorse in the middle of the field. Stephen Malumphey really had no business winning that ball, and won it back and was fouled there, tackled high by Park Cronin. And interest to see Maurice Shanahan taking the freeze. I thought Porrick Mahoney might, after Maurice missed a few the last day against Tip in the Munster final, but maybe give him a chance again.
This is an important one for him, so having had those couple of misses, as you mentioned, in the Munster final at Cork, needs to put over this one, but this is from 65 metres out, and he has given it maximum care and maximum accuracy. Fine free taken by Maurice Shanahan, and so it is 2-1. Waterford in the lead, just over 7 minutes gone at Semple Stadium, where the rain continues to pour down incessantly on this very inclement day. Started brilliantly. It was beautifully sunny here this morning when everybody arrived here, but it's changed like so many Irish days have.
Yeah, ball dropping down there, and looked to be both of them sort of tussling for the ball. I didn't really see any free there, and I think that's a harsh one against Waterford.
And it was against Philip Mahoney, the older of the two Mahoney brothers. So as every point scoring opportunity is going to be so important this afternoon in what could be a very tight game. Been so many tight games between Waterford and Cork over the last 10 years. Pat Organ from Glen Rovers taking his time over this one, and he's put it straight over the bar. Well taken free. So the teams are level at 2 points apiece.
Yeah, that's a good free by Pat Horgan, even though I don't think it was a free, but watch Park Cronin trying to get into that wing forward position to pick up those puck outs, and I think Tony Brown would be better off going up and leaving Philip Mahoney down in those situations.
Time there for Owen Cadigan to go back to gather. Seamus Prendergast a little bit reluctant to put in a challenge. Instead, the challenge came from Tommy Ryan, number 15. Little hand pass back out towards Cork's midfielder Daniel Carney. He wasn't anticipating that, and it's a line ball to Waterford. Looking to settle here, playing in their 9th quarter-final match. They've won 6 of those so far. It'll be Tony Brown to take. Bidding to get into yet another All-Ireland semi-final. Would be a 6th in recent years for him. Big catch taken down by Stephen MacDonald. Cork will be glad to see him back there at full-back. We had a poor league final, but then so many other Cork players had poor league finals as well. They were up against Kilkenny. That's Luke O'Farrell. This is Cian McCarthy, and McCarthy drives it straight over, virtually unchallenged. His first point of the match, and Cork steal into the lead by 3 points to 2.
Yeah, good ball there by Luke O'Farrell. Nobody near Cian McCarthy in a simple point, and Luke O'Farrell looks to start it very, very well. Liam Lawler normally very solid and very steady, but he's slipped a couple of times, and Luke O'Farrell's pace is troubling him.
Over the head of Tom Kenny this time, runs all the way in as far as Shane Welch, ready to take on MacDonald, and the linesman on the far side, he was James McGrath from Westmeath. I think decided that ball had gone out over the line. Line ball will be to Cork.
Yeah, and conditions very, very tough now. The rain is coming down very heavy, strong wind, and it's not ideal. Middle of our so-called summer again. We should be getting used to this at this stage, but it's very difficult for the players out there.
Yeah, a lot of cloud overhead. 50 shades of grey I'm looking at this stage. That ball comes straight into the half-forward line, and it's Cian McCarthy. I saw it in your back. In towards Luke O'Farrell. And again, the line ball. A little bit to Waterford this time. So Kevin Moran ready to take this, man of the match. Terrific against Tipperary just a fortnight ago. Bidding to recapture that form here. Straight to Park Ronan. Into heavily congested Waterford full backline. Again, it's Lawler takes it down. Minimum of fuss, gets it across here via Philip Mahoney. And onto it quickly, Kane Malumphy. Down to Maurice Shanahan. Beats his man. His man was Daniel Carney. Stays on his feet. And Shanahan eventually tries to get it back there towards Philip Mahoney. Runs away from him. It needs Michael Brick-Walsh to sweep across here.
Yeah, very poor play there by Dan Shanahan. Yeah, watch Brick-Walsh actually was here under that high ball. Great catch by Park Ronan, tried to play it in, and Brick-Walsh brought it down. Lovely bit of skill and cleared it. But Dan Shanahan had that ball there, and
this is going to be
Maurice Shanahan, I should say. No, Dan has had many battles with Sean O'G over the years, but he's obviously retired.
And you can be certain, Michael, he's here watching. But right now he's watching Cork attacking. Horgan, well blocked. Came back off Liam Lawler. Well, he was in the right place, right time. Back to Stephen O'Keefe. Off the stick there of Park Ronan, kept it in place somehow. Daniel Carney, that was brilliant work. It was by O'Halpine who got there. Now it's Park Ronan up into the air. Porrick Mahoney coming across here, tussling over there with Tom Kenny. Swept up here as far as Jamie Coughlin or Colin. In it comes to Luke O'Farrell. Nicely across into the middle here. And the final shot is by Park Ronan, and that's over the bar. Took a lot of passes, but they finally got it. 4-2.
Yeah, good team score again by Cork. Nice ball into Park Ronan, and he's coming through the middle. Nice score. You see the room he has again. There's a lot of good running off the ball by Cork, and they have that extra bit of pace. But we're just going to have a quick look here. Look. And this is what Liam Lawler brings to the Waterford team. He's always around the edge of the square. He's maybe not the fastest hurler in the world, but he's steady, he's solid, he guards his goals. And I think last year when Tip scored the 7 goals in the Munster final, Liam Lawler came in after that, and that's what he does. He brings great solidity to the full back line.
Well, Ken McGrath's in there, one of the selectors, along with the doctor, who's Mark Rowe, and the physio, who's Siobhan Fitzpatrick, to attend to him. That's been a problem area, as we know, for quite a long time.
Yeah, but he's tough and he's brave, and
he's done well.
Yeah, Horgan could have slipped in. It was a great goal chance, and Liam Lawler put his body in front of it. That's why he's been treated there. He got a belt of the slipper.
Batted down by Seamus Prendergast. Onto it came Carney, the midfielder for Cork, and tracking him was Philip Mahoney. Got a hook in. Carney tries to play it back towards Niall McCarthy. 2 SARS men. McCarthy hand passing it ahead here. Cronin couldn't take it in his stride. Comes back over here towards Jamie Coughlin, and from 45 metres out he puts it inside that right hand post and over the bar. First point in this match for the man who's come in as a sub here for the stricken Conor Lehan. 3 between them.
I see Daniel Carney coming through here, and he's hooked from behind, and he started well though. He looks lively, but Niall McCarthy worked very hard there, had a couple of move, and a good score for Jamie Coughlin, settling down.
Well, Cork have juggled around the midfield quite a bit this summer. We've had Darren Sweetnam in there, of course, Lorcan McLaughlin as well, so another new pairing really in a way today, although Park Ronan did play in the last match in midfield.
Yeah, I think Darren Sweetnam was the man I was looking forward to this year. After the league, I thought he'd have a big championship, but he's biding his time. He's only 19 years of age, and Conor Lehan, it's a big step up from league to championship, and I think both those players have a huge future. Conor Lehan obviously sick today and didn't start.
First year in charge for Michael Ryan, looking to take his team into an All-Ireland semi-final. Maurice Shanahan has scored 1 long-range free, and this is out on the 65-metre line again, but because it's so near the sideline, He's maybe more than 65 metres out. Swings it in, the umpires look at it and wave it wide. There wasn't too much in it. Difficult enough free for him.
Yeah, and I see John Milano has moved out to right half forward. Maurice Shannon gone into the corner, and he's not taking those frees with any conviction, Jerry. You know, I think Tariq Mahoney is a superb free taker, and I think he should be taking the frees. Morris is just hoping for the best.
From a Park Cronin catch, it's Cullen who's coming in, and Cork's first goal of the game goes scored by Jamie Cullen. The Newtown Chandram player has got his third ever championship goal, 16 minutes in.
Yeah, and this is what they've been doing all year. Luke O'Farrell again with a great assist, but Jamie Collin onto the ball, and since the start of the game Cork have been running down the centre. Park Cronin came through for a score, Cian McCarthy came through for a score, and there's Jamie Collin and hammers it to the back of the net, but a simple chance. But Waterford are going to have to pick up the runners. They're causing fierce trouble at this stage.
Well, the genesis of that was a great catch by Park Cronin in the middle of the field. The return here is by John Milan, and that one has gone away to the right hand side. And the cheers you're listening to are cheers of derision from the fans down at the town end. It's a huge crowd at Semple Stadium this afternoon. Absolutely enormous. And Waterford haven't scored now since the 7th minute.
Yeah, and they look very flat, Jared, to me, Waterford. You know, normally there's much more bite about them. Tony Brown hasn't been on the ball at all. Brick Walsh with one good intervention, but the centre has been opened up, and it's not like him. He needs to hold the centre and to stop the runners coming down the centre.
Well, here he is, under pressure, trying to cope with that. I think the referee decided that the swing by the Cork forward there wasn't timed perfectly, a little bit previous, and it results in a free which Tony Brown's going to take. Nicely down there towards Maurice Shanahan. Now what can he do from here? Taking on Brian Murphy. Shanahan goes in, and the end he handles it I think 3 times, and maybe he threw it to himself also, and it's a free out.
Yeah, that's a couple of balls he got, and he tried to take on his man. He certainly caught it 3 times. There's Brian Murphy, and you know, I don't think there was a foul there. He just fell, and he caught the ball for the 3rd time.
And it all results in a free out for Cork, which will be taken by Anthony Nash. Drafted into goal for the 2007 Munster semi-final after the so-called Semple Gate match. Conceded 5 that day against Waterford. That's beautifully taken down here. 10 minutes now and counting since Waterford got their last score, as Seamus Prendergast tries to set up one involving Tommy Ryan across on the far side, but the referee has decided there was some dragging down on the part of the Waterford player, and it's got to be a free out for the Rebels instead, and they've got to bring their goalkeeper out. Take a look at this again here. There was an arm being held, the arm of Shane O'Neill.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about a few minutes ago. Maybe a young player coming into championship. You know, the power of Shane O'Neill there, and you know, years of experience and hard trend behind him, and Thomas Ryan was in front of him, but O'Neill still passed him out, just drove past him. And you know, I think Waterford, they really have to start moving the ball quicker. They're running aimless running, solo running, slow soul running with the ball, and they need to deliver it into the forwards much faster.
Will Nash score from here? He's got to drop it in. Cian McCarthy was after it, well defended by Waterford, but they're not out of danger just yet. Recycled into the middle here towards Daniel Carney. Did well to hold it with his left hand. Back to Tom Kenny. Places it carefully towards Niall McCarthy. Fumbled it. Allowed Noel Connors get in. But it's McCarthy still using his body there. Helped out by Daniel Carney again. He's lively from the sideline. He's put it in to the right of the goal, and he's put it wide. But he looks very impressive in the middle of the field. He's working extremely hard alongside Park Cronin.
Yeah, look, Cian McCarthy here. He got inside Brick Walsh, and in fairness to Stephen O'Keefe, he did very well to bat it away, and Daniel Carney, you say, moving well, but again, wrong option there. You know, there's the start of the game. That's a silly wide from out in the wing.
Tom Kenny bats it down, gives the team a little bit more experience there at half back. Like old times to see Tom Kenny and Sean O'Grahalpine in the same line. So a line ball for Waterford. Only 2 points on the boards after 19.5 minutes. Kevin Moran inquiring from James McGrath whether the ball's in the right place or not. Rain is still coming down, and that challenge there is going to be penalised. The referee in there quickly. John Milan fouled.
Yeah, Sean, just a slipper. Yeah, maybe a foot away from the ball there, and a good spot by Barry Kelly and a free, and John made sure there.
So John Milan leaving this free for Maurice Shanahan to take. And again, they bring in the towels here, making sure that if there's an opportunity of getting a score in this kind of cat and mouse game, every opportunity is taken. Shanahan with some 23 points in his championship career so far, trying to get it over Anthony Nash's crossbar from 45 metres out, and he's put that over, so it keeps them nicely in touch. 5 points between them as Morris scores, and there's his older brother Dan, who's done so much damage to Cork over the years and many other teams as well. He'd love to be playing.
Yeah, and a big move here by Waterford as well. They've switched Kevin Moore from wing back out onto Pat Cronin in the middle of the field, because Pat Cronin has been outstanding since he started the game, and immediately you see the influence of Moore, and he has the size and brought that ball away from him.
But look where Milan has come. I'm sure Waterford fans would love to see him down in around full forward where he could maximise the damage.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, like he's been moving out the wing in different matches to win possession, and we have Tony Brown here and Niall McCarthy, two old buddies. They've had plenty of battles over the years, and Tony Brown just came in there. He didn't like the tackle on Milan.
Well, this is what happened again here, just
Daniel
moments earlier.
Fairness to him, he was going for the ball.
Well, you're going to see quite a bit of inexperience, because they're an inexperienced team by and large, particularly in the forwards, Cork. Tony again. So Daniel Carney got a yellow card for that as Tony Brown hits it in and fires it over the bar. And listen to the cheer as Tony Brown gets his first point of this match. He scored 2-5, you know, in championship matches against Cork up to now.
Yeah, and that might be the score that sparks the game into life. And it was 20 minutes gone. It's a little bit dead, a bit flat. Huge crowd here. There should be a much better atmosphere. But even when the teams come out in the field, I just felt it got very little reception. And you know, maybe that score now will get the game going.
It's only warming up, I'm sure. On they come again here. Malumphey leading the way. Tom Kenny's after him. One-handed forward into the forwards towards Tommy Ryan. 20 metres out. Trying to steal a march here, and Shane O'Neill using his stick that time, and the referee eventually decides that Tommy Ryan took too much out of it.
You know, I think he took a very hard knock first, Gerard, and then you know, I thought it was a free in, and I don't think he did take too many. He just turned around to hand pass the ball back out, and I think it was called very, very quickly against him.
I must say, I thought he was fouled there just before the referee blew his whistle. Yeah. It's Anthony Nash who takes this free. Big one down towards Cian McCarthy. Breaking onto it here is Paddy O'Sullivan. And O'Sullivan with that lovely loose style of his, really artistic. From a tight enough angle, he gets his first point of the match. And he pushes Cork out in front again by 1-6 to 4 points.
And that's a great score by Paddy O'Sullivan. You know, sometimes when you're not in a game, that's I think maybe the first touch he's had in the game, and to have the confidence to knock over a lovely point like that.
Here's Kevin Moore, and he'll be hoping to exert a big, huge influence now that he's switched out to midfield. Inside towards Shane Walsh. That was a great ball. Laid off to Shanahan. And that's over the bar. 3 points for Maurice Shanahan. That's the first one to come from play. So 4 points the margin once again between the teams.
Yeah, and Waterford need to, lovely diagonal ball there by Kevin Moore, and Waterford need to do more of that. Shane Walsh is a very, very good full forward. That's the first time we've seen a good ball coming into him, a simple score, laid off a little hand pass, and Maurice Shanahan over the bar. And that's what Waterford, you know, Cork are doing a little bit more, they're playing the ball a bit quicker, but sometimes a few too many hand passes as well. I don't know why they just don't let the ball into a good forward line.
Nash up inside forwards, but it's one back once again here. Huge ball. Shane Walsh trying to get the measure there of Stephen McDowell. McDowell runs loose here as far as Ryan. Comes out towards Shanahan. Looking to swing the stick there. And in the end, there's his foul on the Cork man coming out. And it's a free against Waterford. And a chance to take some of the pressure off that highly stressed Cork defence.
Seamus Prendergast came in there with a heavy challenge on Stephen McDonald, but before that Shane Walsh broke the ball, and the support was very, very slow coming. Thomas Ryan took a long time to get there. The ball was hanging around. And
so that's a yellow card, 13. Carney for Cork, Prendergast now for Waterford. And that's Shane Welsh who has required some attention. Free taken by Anthony Nash. 10 minutes to go to half time. Breaks down here. Stephen Daniels trying to get it out. Cian McCarthy trying to get it up onto his stick. Stalemate situation broken up by John Milan. Back there in the half forward line, playing deep. Inside towards Seamus Prendergast. 1 against 1 in there, runs all the way through as far as Nash. Kept his composure, kept his eye on the ball, but drove it away into space, and there's nobody there for it except Stephen Malomfy. Waterford getting the possessions here. Now can they use it? Not with this particular slack pass. Tom Kenny trying to prod it away. Again in came Malomfy to challenge. Carney loses it. Milan gets it back towards Maurice Shanahan. Under pressure there from Brian Murphy, and the line ball goes to Cork.
Yeah, Milan working. Yeah, a lot of loose. Milan working very, very hard all over the place, and you know, I think he's really just trying to drive Waterford on and get them into the game. But as you say, a lot of loose hurling, and you know, more direct hurling is what I'm saying it a few times here. The sun is out again now. Of course, we had the rain spilling down. Now the sun is splitting the stones. I'd love to see the ball just be moved quicker and get a bit of hurling into the game. It's very stop-start so far.
Tom Kenny driving it in here. Cork trying to get to it, in particular Paddy O'Sullivan. He's got it. Very crafty corner forward, slips on the ground, and the referee.
He dropped a hurl as he was passing it. He was stuck on the ground. He dropped it, picked it up very quick again, and might get away with it another day. But it was just, you see it here when he hits the ground.
No,
he just dropped his hurl, picked it just to switch hands, and well spotted by Barry Kelly.
It results in a Waterford free, which Tony Brown's going to take. Point from a free already. It's going to drop in there, 20 metres out. Maurice Shanahan tried to touch it down towards Thomas Ryan. Instead, away come Cork again. Well cleared under pressure by Shane O'Neill. In beyond Patrick Horgan. Back there is Tony Brown once again. Out comes Sean O'Halpine. Releases it there as far as Park Cronin. He's already scored once in this match. Looking to get a second one. And he's done exactly that. Good work by the 25-year-old from Bishopstown. Making it 1-7 to 5 points.
Yeah, that's a super point from the middle field, and Park Cronin's having a huge influence on the game. Luke O'Farrell made a brilliant run inside. He was gone about 20 yards away from Liam Lauder, but he didn't spot him. He took the point instead.
That's broken down there for John Milan. It was lost by Paddy O'Sullivan, and it's Milan who carries it on. Dishes it outside as far as Farrick Mahoney. Hasn't scored so far, and he puts that right. So they go point for point still, but Cork still have that 4-point advantage overall, helped by that goal by Jamie Coughlin.
Yeah, and you'd have to say that John Milan is, he's having a huge influence on the game. He's working so hard. He's bringing other players into the game, and if Waterford do get back into it, he's the man. And Sean O'Neill will have to tighten up there. He's picking up an awful lot of breaking ball and loose ball around the half forward line.
Michael Brick Walsh comes out, as he's done so often in recent years, from centre half back, all the way down beyond Shane Welch. Maurice Shanahan trying to advance. Lots of Cork players back there, but Seamus Prendergast has an opportunity, and he's put it over the bar. First point of the match for Seamus Prendergast, and now there's only that goal separating these teams.
Yeah, and Waterford, their usual foothold is around their half-back line, middle of the field, and they're beginning to get that. Michael Walsh, Brick Walsh coming more into the game, Tony Brown a little bit more, Stephen Malomfy, Kevin Moore getting a grip in midfield now, and even though Park Cronin and John Milan is out in the wing, and Waterford last 10 minutes have really come into the game and improved a lot.
Philip Mahoney's hand pass across here to Kevin Moran. Lovely sidestep away there from Park Cronin. Well, it's a very ambitious one. He had other options, but he was prepared to go for glory. Didn't quite work out for him.
No, they look great when they go over, and the odd one does go over, and you can't blame the player now and again for having to go, but really there was, the ball was to be played inside. There was a good run off the ball by Thomas Ryan. He should have really been played in front of him.
Anthony Nash pucking it out, looking for Niall McCarthy, caught instead by John Milan. Playing brilliantly. Lovely little dodge to put that over the head of O'Halpine that time. Comes out here as far as Philip Mahoney, right on the sideline. This will be some score. It's a brilliant point. Huge distance out, and the margin closes the whole time. And it was all set up by John Mullane initially. Out there as far as Pádraig Mahoney.
That's a great score, Jaron. One thing, when John Mullane is on the field, you won't be bored anyway. You don't know what's going to happen next. Full of life, and he caught that puck out himself and set up the score, and that's 2 in a row he's set up now.
And this one is caught by Kevin Moran, dashing forward. Park Ronan's after him. A support player is Seamus Prendergast. After him goes Cadigan. Inside as far as Maurice Shanahan. Murphy stops him initially, turns around, and the spin and the shot results in another one for Waterford. The lovely hand pass out here for Maurice Shanahan. He wasn't going to be stopped. Swung around and got his 4th point of this match. And now Cork's lead is down to 1.
Yeah, and that score again made by the key member, talking about Kevin Moore, and a great run. And Maurice Shanahan, that switch with John Mullane has worked really, really well. Maurice has scored 2 points since he went in to the full forward line, and John Mullane winning everything. There's Kevin Moore again.
He's got another. Waterford on a roll. Mullane, hugely influential. Nobody able to stand up alongside him and get the measure of the man. There's Malumphey's shot, and that is over, and the teams are level. Stephen Malumphy. Well, he's had a busy last 10 days. Married lovely Nia Bryan from Lismore. He's back out there in the middle of the park for Waterford, and he's made it 1-7 to 10 points with nearly 32 minutes.
Yeah, and Cork have responded now to moving Tom Kenny over onto John Mullane, because he certainly has been the most influential player in the last 15 minutes. They were going nowhere in this game, Waterford, and they moved him out wing forward, and he's changed the game completely. He's had a hand in at least 4 or 5 scores, and scored a point himself, and he's shown great skill and great heart out there.
Waterford have got the last 5 scores without reply. What's happened to Cork? Shane O'Neill, very near the sideline, upended. Referee across there to deal with it immediately. And the player he's speaking to is the man who just got that point and is bound to be on a high. Well, he was speaking with Stephen Malumphy, now he's speaking with Pádraig Mahoney. And
I think Stephen Malumphy put him straight.
It is indeed Stephen Malumphy who got that card. So 3 yellow cards dished out now by Barry Kelly from Westmeath. 2 of them for Waterford, 1 for Cork. Free to Cork to be taken here by Cian McCarthy, the Sarsfields player, from a very, very long distance out. Oh, he's put it to the right. That was hugely ambitious and a wasted opportunity, really.
Well, I wouldn't be bringing a centre forward back there to take a free. You know, someone from the half back line take it, lob it in around the square, and see where it ends up.
Stephen O'Keefe pucks it out. It's taken down here by Park Cronin. Challenged hard there by Kevin Moran, who's injured. Helped out by Pádraig Mahoney, who swings it back into 20 metres out from the Cork goal. Comes back out towards Cadigan. Brought it away from him by Shane Welch. Taking it up here is Seamus Prendergast. And there's a foul, and it's a free into Waterford, and they can go in front here just before the half-time whistle.
Yeah, that was a great play by Seamus Prendergast, and he won the free well. But I think just before that, Kevin Moore won a great ball, and as he was releasing it, Tar Cronin caught him with just with a belt. I don't think it was deliberate, but he got a fair whack in the hand, and he's down injured, and he certainly has made a huge difference since he moved over onto Park Cronin. And they'll be hoping it's okay. He looks to be okay.
Just to remind you that coming up next will be the Kilkenny versus Limerick match. That's throwing in here at 4 o'clock, not to be missed. Well, Kevin Moran's after recovering, thankfully. There'll be 1 additional minute played at the end of the opening 35. Maurice Shanahan's about to take this. He's got 4 points so far. The last 2 have been from play. And with his 5th point of the first half, Maurice Shanahan puts Waterford in front by 11 points to 1-7.
Yeah, that's a super turnaround, Ger. You know, Cork were cruising after 20 minutes there. Waterford only 2 points on the board, and they scored 9 points in the last 15 minutes and turned the whole game around.
This puck out is again towards Park Cronin, but over there is Kevin Moran, and it's a stalemate situation which ends up eventually with Park Cronin getting to it. Cork needing a score before half-time. Inside towards Cian McCarthy. Missed the last one from a free. This time he swings it over his left shoulder, and it's dropping down over the bar. He did well. That's his second point. So the teams are level as we approach the end of the opening 35 minutes. They're level for the fourth time, 1-8 to 11 points. And as we now know, there's another 60 seconds at least of added time.
Yeah, good score by Keane McCarthy there. He showed good composure to take his time and put it over the bar off his right side. A nice point.
Philip Mahoney in there, intended for Shane Welch, comes back instead to Jamie Coughlin. It's Coughlin in North Cork, it's Colin in the southern part of Cork. All the way up here towards Luke O'Farrell, had one very good moment right at the very beginning of the game, but we haven't seen much of him since then.
Yeah, Ger, but I think in fairness to him, he's not getting the ball. I think he looks very sharp. He's making great runs. Anything that's come near him, he's won it, and he looks sharp. But Cork are taking that extra 2 or 3 hand passes out the middle of the field, or they're shooting from distance, and they're not really bringing their full forward. And Pat Horgan and Luke O'Farrell and Paddy O'Sullivan all look sharp. They're getting very little ball.
This is going to be taken by Patrick Horgan. 2 points so far to his credit. Second of those came from a free. Awkward angle. Can he make it? The umpires have a quick look and decide yes. White flag raised, a third point for Pat Horgan, and it's now 1-9 to 11. Cork by the minimum. Referee telling the goalkeeper to puck it out, then blows the half-time whistle. Waterford had a very good long 10-minute, 15-minute stretch towards the end of that first half, but it's Cork who go in leading by a point, boosted enormously by a goal midway through that first half by Jamie Coughlin. John Milan came out towards the middle of the field, exerted a huge influence, and this is really anybody's game, as we anticipated when we came to Semple Stadium here this afternoon. And as per usual, one of the teams is waiting for the other to go in. We'll have lots and lots to talk about during half-time when we get into our analysis piece with Michael and his panel. But at Semple Stadium, it's Cork who lead by 1-9 to Waterford's 11 points. We're back after this.
Travels Ireland to discover what people are doing to get away from it all.
Jobs are gone at the moment, it's tough. It's only for having hobbies and, you'll be fairly bored.
O'Gorman, a new series, starts Tuesday at 7 on RTE1.
Liberty Insurance was founded here in Boston 100 years ago with a simple philosophy, doing the right thing by its customers. And now, Liberty Insurance is in Ireland, and they brought that philosophy with them. So when it comes to motor, home, and commercial insurance, you'll have someone in your corner every step of the way, which is exactly the way it should be. Call 1890-89-1890 or visit libertyinsurance.ie. Liberty Insurance, insurance the way it should be.
Is your sports club keeping up with the Lucasade Sport Club Crusade? 3 sports clubs in Ireland will win €10,000 by collecting as many bottle caps from Lucasade Sport and Lucasade Sport Light as possible. The new limited edition Lucasade Sport Summer Fruits bottle is your club's chance to make a dash for the line, because its red cap is worth 2 bottle caps. Go to lucasadesport.ie and keep collecting Lucasade Sport bottle caps.
Centra, sponsors of the GAA Hurling Championship.
Of this afternoon's All-Ireland Hurling quarterfinals here at Semple Stadium in Thurles. Cork leading Waterford 1 goal and 9 points to 11 points. Just the point in it then. Liam Sheedy, Gerald Nan here with me in our studio this afternoon. Liam started off very pedantic, not much atmosphere as the lads were saying, but it certainly has picked up over the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, it has. Cork obviously got the better start. Had their goal chance starting off. Could have had a goal in the first puck of the game. But they were the better team. I mean, it was 3-2 after 10 minutes, and there was nothing in it. But all of a sudden, Cork got 1-2 without replying, give themselves a bit of a gap. But in fairness to Waterford, I think the management have made some smart moves. I think Kevin Moore out to midfield and Philip Mahoney dropping back has worked. Maurice Shanahan moving in and John Mullane moving out his work. So those changes seem to have dragged themselves back into the game, and unlucky probably not to be going in at least level at half time. They were a point up just coming up to half time and conceded 2 soft enough scores. So it is very much all to play for here at half time.
It's very important, Ger, when things are not going your way, to know the moves to make and to be able to make them and be brave enough to make them.
Well, that's right, Michael, because it's 1-5 to 2 points after 15 minutes, and we were saying this game is slipping away from Waterford, and even Cork had another chance to get a goal. They had 2 chances to get more goals. They were using the old tactic of 10 years ago. Drag the centre back, Brick Welsh, out of the centre and leave the centre completely open, and all the danger was coming down the centre. Then the change came, Moran went to midfield. Now, not alone was Jan Patrick Cronin at midfield, but he was covering the centre-back position as well. So he was blocking off that channel to Cork. And Cork have scored very little since then, but of course the big change was bringing John Mullane. What a man John Mullane is. When you think of his age, he goes out there and he changes the game completely, practically on his own. Won so much ball, laid it off, brought all the other players into play, but above all, he gave such confidence to the whole team around him, and even to the crowd. You can see the Waterford crowd got behind him. Once Mullane came out there, they sensed that something was going to happen.
Well, certainly at one point Cork were lording it. As Ger said, they almost had a goal right at the start of the match, but they did get that goal then.
Yeah, they did, and we talked about the centre. They were leaving the centre. I felt sometimes Brick, he's inclined to go missing in the centre. You just can't go missing. And Pat Crone has fielded some great ball, and they sprayed the ball across very well. But you can see as soon as he makes the run, Jamie Collin, there's no way you should be able to come right down the middle. And he'd a bit to do, but he got in and got a great goal. And Jamie Collin, he's got 1-1 in the first half. So Conor couldn't start Conor Lehan, but he played that very, very well. The one thing that we know that Cork have is the skill. So if they can get themselves on the ball 30 yards out, 40 yards out, they'll make the run. And that was a superb finish, and that gave them a real platform to build on.
They were also getting good points in play. They were getting the space, and as Liam said, Ger, they have the skill to take them.
We showed that before the game. Once they get space and time, they have the skill. They're going to put them away once they get space and time. And especially the full back line, we're giving the full forward line so much space. Once a Cork forward, any one of those 6 forwards gets a yard on you, gets that space where he can swing his hurley, he'll either pick out a man in a better position, and the man in total isolation will put it over the bar. They don't miss many chances when they get it like that. Now at this stage, Patrick Cronin was cleaning up at midfield, and even from far out, Kim McCarthy, from far out, they were lobbing over the points. Their confidence was sky high at that stage. Look at here, look at all the space you were on the midfield. Nobody coming to the man with the ball. That's what I can't believe about Waterford. Liam today, the full back line and closing down their minute all at all. Their only hope is, since Mullane came to midfield, at least the midfield is crowded and there's much ball going in. But once it goes in to the Cork full forward line, the Cork corner backs and the full back, they're standing way off their men and giving. They'll have to rectify that in the second half.
But that middle third just has to be a battlefield, really, doesn't it? And it wasn't in that first 20 minutes.
Exactly.
I mean, you felt that you could just pop up, and typically the hurling that Cork would love to do, the ball is there, they're loose on their own, they'll pop the ball over the bar.
But that middle third, that's where John Mullane came out, made his influence. It created some great chances for Point Mahoney, one of them, Steve Malumphey, another, for example.
Yeah, no, it's worked very well, because as you said, it has tightened it up. Both himself and Kevin Moran come out onto the one side, and here he is, catching a fabulous ball. And sometimes, with John, you might blame him. He goes for sometimes maybe he should be looking for bring other players into the game, and he gave a lovely pass here to Pádraig Mahoney. Pádraig still had a bit to do now, but great score off his left hand side. That was a fabulous score, and all of a sudden they started to get a bit of momentum, and here he is again on the ball again, and he's just all the time he's going at players, he's taking on defenders, and Steve Malumphey pops a lovely point again. So and I think as well that there's some of the scores they got from outside.
Yeah.
But I think at times as well they popped the ball in front of Shane Walsh, and even though they haven't got a goal, I think they need to do more of that. I think they need to play the ball in more direct, get in around the square, create a bit of consternation in here. I mean, Stephen McDonald and some of them guys have conceded a few goals this year. Get the ball in, get it in fast.
It's when they mix it that they're absolutely at their best. When they pick off the man loose outside, puts it over the bar. But on time, they must get it into that full forward line as well. If they do, they're right in this game.
Okay, we have another break coming up here on the Sunday game. Back with the second half of Cork versus Waterford straight after that.
going Gay Byrne as he chats with some of Ireland's most prominent musicians.
You gave up in 2003. You said, enough, I'm finished, I'm done. You did the same.
For one night only, a new series starts Friday at 9:35 on RTE1.
The same hoarse voices, the same clenched fists, the same words uttered that some sitters missed, the same soaring highs, the same crashing lows, the same oh yeses, the same oh noes, the same old characters, the same place in the stands, the same mad passions. We're the same, we're fans. Championship, every Monday in the Irish Examiner.
Introducing a paint that's out of this world. Universal All-Surface Paint gives you the power to change anything. With its advanced formula, it can be applied directly to surfaces in your home and garden without the need for a primer. Universal All-Surface Paint works on wood, metal, ceramics, and most plastics. The beautiful paintwork without the hard work. Universal All-Surface Paint from Rust-Oleum. This changes everything.
Shaving 1/10 of a second off the time. Being 1 millimeter ahead of the rest. Showing that little extra skill. That's all it takes to be the best. It's time to get involved and show Ireland's athletes that you are behind them all the way. Send in your video, upload your photo, or tweet your message. Get behind the team or your favourite athlete by going to rte.ie/Go Team Ireland. Show your support for Team Ireland on RTE.
Cork leading Waterford at half-time by a point. I suppose that lead coming courtesy of the goal that Cork got in the first half. Liam Sheedy, they had a couple of goal chances as well. One right at the start of the match, Cork.
Yeah, they had. The game was hardly on when the ball broke in. And, you know, Luke O'Farrell, although he's no score got today, he's been very, very dangerous. I think he's created a lot. And he just ran at Liam Lawler, but I mean, what a save. I think Stephen O'Keefe got a touch when it went onto the crossbar.
Up onto the post.
It was moving so fast.
Yep.
I think he definitely got a touch off it up onto the crossbar. But, you know, it really was a great chance. And, you know, here we are again, long ball in. And, you know, anytime the ball was in, you know, Paddy O'Sullivan, great vision here. But in fairness to Liam Lawler, stands up well, you know, takes the block and comes out. But, you know, again, it was a half chance, you know, Patrick Horgan in a good position. But Liam Lawler is very good at holding that position there on the edge of the square.
But again, you see Liam, too much room given to Luke O'Farrell when he got the ball. Lawler didn't close him down half fast enough. And even when Luke O'Farrell got it and Lawler fell, he should have gone a bit further and really buried it. So he could have been out of sight, you know. By 15 minutes, it could have been 3-5 to 2 points. Then it would be very hard to come back.
Sure. OK, it's a hurling double-header here on the Sunday game this afternoon. Coming up later, the second of today's All-Ireland hurling quarterfinals. That's Kilkenny versus Limerick, and that game is at 4 o'clock. Commentary on that game will be provided by Darren Maloney and Tomás Mulcahy. They join us right now to look ahead to that game.
Michael, thanks very much indeed. Down here just on the sideline at Semple, great atmosphere down here, and I'm regretting that I brought the umbrella because it's just about to start to rain. Looking ahead to the second game, first meeting of the two counties in, 5 years since the 07 All-Ireland final. Kilkenny are here. Brian Cody just a few minutes ago told me they will line out as selected, nobody added to the subs. Limerick yet to arrive. They've been warming up off-site, we understand. They're on their way to Semple Stadium at this very moment. But a lot to look forward to. Tomás Mulcahy is here with me. And Tomás, after the shock for Kilkenny of the Leinster final, 3 weeks ago, how do you expect they will react today?
Well, we saw a Kilkenny man yesterday in London in the Olympics, and I'm sure there could have been a lot of sparring with that guy over the last couple of weeks, because they're a wounded county after that defeat by Galway. So yeah, everybody's expecting a backlash. I mean, it either go away first 5-10 minutes, you'll see where Kilkenny are at in this game, you know. So like a couple of changes to their team again today, you know. The centre back is out, and kind of that's a big loss and a big blow to Kilkenny, I feel, because he's been a stalwart in that number 6 position, and you can't afford just be losing your centre back. So I mean, that's a blow for Kilkenny and a plus maybe for Limerick as well, you know. So
yeah, and what about Limerick? You know, you go back maybe a month ago, not too many people would have given them a chance coming in here today, but they do have a chance. What chance do you give them?
I've been impressed with Limerick this year, being honest with you. There's a freshness about them, right? There's a hunger in their game. They're a big, strong, physical team, right? And I mean, if they're looking at Galway's match against Kilkenny over the last couple of weeks, video-wise and stuff like that, they'll know how they got at Kilkenny. They took them on up front, they ran at them, they actually scored goals, and that's what they're going to have to do. If Limerick are to win this one, they're going to have to score goals against Kilkenny.
Briefly, prediction.
Sure, look, I mean, it has to be Kilkenny.
Okay. We're going to race in out of the rain. Tomas, thanks very much indeed. They were talking about empty seats at the Olympics. That's been a big story this morning. Not too many empty seats or standing spaces around here, Michael. We're going to dash in for cover.
No, there certainly is not a great atmosphere here at Semple Stadium. Cork then leading Waterford by a point. Let's go back to the commentary box to Ger Canning and Michael Duignan.
Thank you very much indeed. We're just waiting for the two teams to come back out. Cork and Waterford, of course, have a very good record in the quarterfinals, having lost just one match each in quarterfinal ties. And Cork's only defeat was, ironically, against Waterford in 2006. Tony O'Keefe there in the centre, and of course Dickie Murphy, John Healy there on the left-hand side of Kilkenny, and plenty of Cork support here. The Cork fans, I think, have particularly taken this Jimmy Barry Murphy team to their hearts, and they are hoping, Michael, that they will develop as a side in much the same way that the team that he built that won the 1999 All-Ireland developed from about 1996 onwards.
Yeah, well, just looking at the first half there, Cork were cruising after 20 minutes. I think they led 1-6 to 2 points. Waterford weren't in the game, and you felt at that stage if Cork would just, you'd be looking at them here, and I don't know what Jimmy Barry thinks about it, but I'd be frustrated if I was in the Cork full forward, and why they just don't one simple hand pass and drive the ball into their full forward, but they seem to take this extra pass all the time, and they're twiddling their thumbs inside in the full forward line. And Waterford, if fair to Waterford, John Mullane came out to wing forward. A new side to his game. He scored a point all right, but it was the amount of scores that he created, the amount of ball that he won, and he really dragged Waterford single-handedly back into the game. Stephen Lumphy there we see, and Kevin Moran going to the middle of the field had a big influence as well. So it's poised now, but Waterford just to me don't look like they're going to score a goal, and maybe they won't have the subs that Cork might be able to introduce, and maybe they will shade in the second half, but it's going to be very, very tight.
Well, those men there have done wonderful jobs. Michael Ryan came in as manager here, and we had all kinds of rumours that things weren't going quite right, in particular after the first match in the league, which ironically was at Porky Arena on a lovely benign night, and Cork literally went to town. Conor Lehan, for instance, got 7 points and destroyed the Waterford half-back line. But it was a Waterford team bereft of half of the players that you're seeing in action here today.
And they've rebuilt, and Ken McGrath coming in. I was asked down in Ardmore yesterday at their Pattern Festival. I was down there doing a book signing, and brilliant day down there, and I was asked who was my 3 favourite Waterford hurlers. A hard question, but Ken McGrath would be top of the list over the years, and a great iconic figure to have in the dressing room or in the sideline.
And Cork have made a change, and coming in for them is Darren Sweetnam, start of the second half. And it is Waterford to get primary possession here with Kevin Moran. And that's Darren Sweetnam onto it straight away. He's come on in place of Daniel Carney, who got a yellow card in the first half. So Sweetnam comes in. The Dohenys player kicking it down there, intended for Luke O'Farrell. Might break kindly instead for Paddy O'Sullivan, but he is surrounded by Deschamel and Liam Lawler, one-handed hand passing it back there to Michael Brick Welch, and the 29-year-old from Stradvalley puts Cork's half-backs under pressure. They cope well. Kenny blocked down well by Porrick Mahoney, breaks on here as far as Shane Welch, inside beyond Thomas Ryan. Little run there for possession with Shane O'Neill. Ryan holding him off. O'Neill tries to come back. In comes McDonald, who got the final touch. Went off the Waterford full forward Shane Welch, I think. So just to confirm that one change made by Cork, start of the second half, and it is number 24, Darren Sweetnam from Dohenys, who's come in here in place of Daniel Carney from Sarsfields.
Yeah, and interesting, Jared, that Maurice Shannon has moved back to right half forward with John Mullane switching back into the corner. I think that's probably just about giving Mullane a bit of a breather, and he could switch again later in the game.
Cork didn't seem to have anybody who could stay with Mullane when he was out there in the middle of the field, being hugely influential. Here he is in the thick of it, number 13 for Waterford, wrestling there with Cadigan, it appeared, and the referee eventually saw the ball on the ground, and it's going to be a free out for Cork, who lead this match, as you can see, by just a point, and thanks in large measure to that goal midway through the first half by Jamie Collin. And they've called out their goalkeeper, Cork, Anthony Nash. He's got a goal and 3 points already in this year's championship. Of course, the goal coming from a penalty last time he was here, some 2 weeks ago, against Wexford. Cork have had penalties in each of their last 2 championship matches. Got one, missed another.
Yeah, distance not an issue normally with this man.
Especially with the wind behind him. And it's coming in, and it's taken down by Michael Brick Walsh. The breeze seems to be blowing, if anything, down the field, but sweeping towards the right-hand side, heading towards the town end, as it were. That's Pat Horgan. Back here. O'Sullivan couldn't take it, but Stephen Daniels could. Park Ronan puts up his right hand, takes it down commandingly. Inside to the loose Cian McCarthy. At least he was loose when he got possession. He strikes it, it's close. It's over. It's been given. A third point for Cian McCarthy. Disappointment for Stephen O'Keefe. There wasn't an awful lot in there. We're right behind it.
Yeah, just drifting in the wind there, and it's very, very high. You know, even from the replay there, I'd say it was dodgy enough now. It was high and it was over the top of the post. It was hard to see from here, but the umpires are a lot closer, but they were standing underneath it. It was 50-50.
As Waterford tried to build possession out of midfield, Malumphey there in the white helmet, right in the thick of it, and the referee's going to throw the ball in between two players. Early stage of the second half, and quickly taking it was Seamus Prendergast, blocked down then. Comes back out O'Halpine in the white, number 7 there for Cork. Comes out as far as Porrick Mahoney, running into a whole group of Cork defenders. Back to Malumphey again, up into the air. Cork playing with the win for the second 35 minutes. And that's Stephen MacDonald beaten for this time by Shane Welch. Great catch. Makes a bit of room for himself. 2 pursuing him. Nobody able to get to him. And Shane Welch strikes it over the bar for his first point of this All-Ireland quarter-final tie. And he has made it 110 to 12 points.
Yeah, did very well there, Shane Welch. It just shows, you know, it wasn't the best ball in the world. It was a Gary Owen really from Stephen Duffy, but a great catch by Shane Welch, and he turned away, made room, and a lovely point.
Back at the other end, it's Thurles tries to get to it, but he stopped in his tracks there well, and Michael Brick Walsh hand passed it out to Kevin Moran, out around midfield at this stage. Up towards Shane Walsh, who got that last score for Waterford. He's a very, very intelligent hurler. Uses possession well. It's Malumphey, this time against Tom Kenny. It'll drop short. Goalkeeper hesitated, then took it well with his left hand. Strikes it away down towards Niall McCarthy. Haven't seen very much of him after an opening burst in the opening 5 minutes. That's out once again by Waterford. Out towards Shanahan. 2 Cork players in their enthusiasm going to the same ball. One of them was McCarthy, the other was Brian Murphy. This is Niall McCarthy, and that's back out into the centre. Owen Cadigan blocked down by Seamus Prendergast, his man. Niall McCarthy anticipating, diagonally across. That's an inventive ball over here, as far as Luke O'Farrell. It's got to be low, and again, keeper had enough time to get it into his stick here, and the 21-year-old from Ballygunner gets the room to drive it away down the field, a good 80 metres downfield, down towards Thomas Ryan, trying to link up with a colleague there. Ends up being a line ball for Cork. Kevin Moran as busy as ever. And John Milan with a point to his credit, but my goodness, when you have that run of 9 scores in a row there for Waterford, hugely impressive in the last 15 to 18 minutes of that first half. Back out it comes once again here. That was Jamie Colin, helped out, comes towards O'Halpine, striking it down. Intended there for Luke O'Farrell, stolen behind his man. Clever play, well blocked by Liam Lawler, took enough out of that to make it easy for the clearance to be made. Now the line ball ends up on this near side for Cork. Michael Ryan calling out the instructions.
There's here Brick Walsh again. What a man to cover for everyone else. Cian McCarthy has got 3 points off, but Brick Walsh has done an awful lot of covering, and the ball broke to Liam Lawler, and a bad ball really pucked it out over the line under no pressure.
So Sean O'Halpine ready to put it back in again. He was practicing these before the start of the match. Connects well. That's surprisingly in there. O'Keefe out once again to do his job, and do his job well. Good ball out to Malumphey, totally unmarked. It's very loose. Enough time now to play it in there. Thomas Ryan coming across, a little hand pass back towards John Milan. Maybe not the best ball because there were 2 players on the number 15 for Waterford there in the yellow helmet, and he was beaten in the end by Darren Sweetnam. Poor clearance out to Milan. Again he tries his party trick, worming his way forward here. Inside as far as Maurice Shanahan. 3 backs in front of him. Beyond Prendergast, but here for Malumphey to take, and downed about 30 metres out, free into Waterford.
Yeah, great directness about Stephen Malumphey. You know, like there was a lot of messing around there, tipping and tapping. He just took responsibility straight up the centre, and Brian Murphy just stuck a foot out there and brought him down, and a handy now free straight in front of the goal from Maurice Shanahan.
So the referee records that, and we've just seen Waterford introduce Owen McGrath, number 24, and the player who's going off is Thomas Ryan. So Owen McGrath, whose brother Ken, of course, is now one of the selectors, comes in. He's been one of Waterford's main attackers over the last 5 or 6 years. It'll be Shanahan to hit this, and make no mistake with his first point of the second half and his 6th in all. And now it is Cork 113, Waterford 13 points. The teams are level for the 5th time.
Yeah, Owen McGrath, another worker, great man to work and to cover ground, but you know, scoring forward maybe needed by the end of the game, but Waterford doing well now to have a foothold, and you know, it's anyone's game.
Cork trying to hold on to their own puck out here. Jamie Cullen back across here as far as Park Cronin. First touch wasn't great, second touch not all that much better. Here comes O'Halpine, knifing his way through here, going by the referee, trying to go through the Waterford defence. Inside it goes here as far as Horgan, shortening the grip on the stick and putting it over the bar. 4th point of the match for Patrick Horgan. First of the second half, and Cork back in front again by a point, 111 to 13 points.
Yeah, super run there by Sean Oak, straight down the middle and laid it off just in time to Pat Horgan. Lovely touch and very economical over the bar. He looks sharp, as I say, in there, and you know, they're trying to get more ball in front of him and Luke O'Farrell in the second half.
And Cork contemplating another. It wouldn't surprise me if they freshened up their forward line even more. But right now it's Waterford with this ball taken out of defence cleverly. Philip Mahoney's pass, however, is intercepted by Sean O'Halpine inside his own 65-metre line. Into space, beyond Michael Brick-Walsh. Liam Lawler waits for the goalkeeper to take it, and Stephen O'Keefe fires it back out towards Seamus Prendergast. Took it beautifully with his left hand. Fouled. Free to Waterford inside their own 65-metre line.
Yeah, high tackle there by Owen Cadigan, and we've seen Seamus Prendergast so many times over the years. You know, he's so reliable under those high balls, and he turns again, wins the free, and he's switching out in the wing back into the centre. Maurice Shanahan as well moving on, and John Milan is back out on the wing again.
We've seen him give centre backs a torrid time in recent matches, in fact going right back through the years, Seamus Prendergast. It's got to be Tony Brown to hit this on his own 65-metre line into the wind. Got to drop short, touchdown towards McGrath, first touch, and Shane Walsh in the end into the side netting, and a missed opportunity. All of that coming from the free by Tony Brown. And there's going to be a change for Cork in just a moment, and the next man in will be Cathal Naughton.
And interesting now with John Milan again being moved to centre forward now, and Tom Kenny has followed him in to centre back, obviously trying to get John Milan into the central position. Now he's Seamus Prendergast now maybe changing with him again, so they're trying to create confusion there in the Cork half back line.
Naughton's on, now McCarthy's off. Some new fresh legs and fresh ideas in the half forward line, I'd imagine, to try and get a run on the Waterford backs. Naughton going for that first one, so too was Michael Brick-Walsh. Naughton challenges him. Brick-Walsh well attuned to the pace of this game. As far as he was taking it out, it's a free to Waterford.
Quickly taken there by Stephen Malumphey up into the corner.
And it really is causing problems over there as Owen McGrath has it. A little block on that, and it goes off the Cork stick, and it's gone for a 65, and it's the first of the game. Owen McGrath will do a lot of work, and he'll run around, and he will cause major headaches for the Cork backs. Time as he was trying to hit his shot, the block came in here from the stick of Shane O'Neill. So this 65 will be entrusted to Maurice Shanahan. He got 5 points in the first half. He's added another point to his tally since then, playing today in his 12th championship match. 8 points in the Munster final. Wind is still fresh enough, but maybe not quite as strong as it was in the first half, as Shanahan hits it and puts it straight over. Today he's very much on song. I don't think he's missed very much, if anything. And it's now 111 to 14 points, level for the 6th time. And the crowd getting more vocal. Anthony Nash pucking it out. Down there towards Cian McCarthy. Couldn't hold on to it. Hasn't handled as much ball as he usually does. Sweetenham tries to get it. Out come Waterford. Out as far as Kevin Moran. Good use of possession here. It's McGrath inevitably. Swinging it across here. Anticipating is Shane Welch. Cleverly using possession. He's causing major problems, and that underlines his value to this team. His second point, Shane Welch, the 29-year-old from 4 Mile Water, puts Waterford in front by 15 points to 111, and Cork do not seem to have answers for his elusiveness and his quality as a full forward.
Yeah, and his big strength there is the way he covers the ball when he comes out to it. You know, and any forward watching, he shields the ball, and if he doesn't get possession first time, he breaks it down in front of himself, and great score.
Paddy O'Sullivan scoops it across here towards Patrick Horgan, beats 3 men to it, and there's a rapid reply, but this reply has gone outside and wide. Out of luck. He's missed about 3 chances, I think. He missed 2 in the first half and that one there. So it's still Waterford 15 to Cork's 111. A lot of time still to go. Only 14 minutes into the second half. And Cork, it looks like they're preparing to bring in an old warrior, and that's John Gardner, who hasn't played at all in this year's championship, and John could be about to come in. I think it's a bit of a crisis for Cork if they're going to surmount this quarter-final mounted at this stage. Waterford have such a good record playing in these quarter-finals, bidding to get into a 7th All-Ireland semi-final in a row.
Yeah, well, normally our platform is our half backline, and the Cork half backline today really, you know, since John Malone went out wing forward, he caused havoc. Seamus Prendergast is causing Owen Caddigan all sorts of problems there. He's just not able to cope with him. And John Gardner, you know, I was wondering all year where he was. You know, he's only 29 years of age, and he still surely has a lot to offer to Cork hurling, so his experience should tell today.
Michael Welch under pressure. That was very near the sideline, over the sideline. It's going to be a line ball to Cork. Well, with John Gardner back in there, Sean O'Halpine, Tom Kenny, a bit like old times.
It is, but you know, we've been saying all week, I sort of fancied Waterford all week. Then they kind of went down in Cork's favour in the last day or two on the basis that they had maybe better subs to come in. But they look a bit lacklustre, and they're really going to be dependent on this bench because Waterford look more determined. Jimmy
Collin playing it across here. And the final shot has gone beautifully over the bar off the stick there of Paddy O'Sullivan. So Cork make the change, and on comes John Gardner. The player going off is going to be Owen Caddigan, who, if Cork win, could have a couple of busy weeks at Croke Park with the footballers in action next weekend. There's John Gardner coming in here to play in his 48th championship match. He's only 29 years of age. First championship match of the season. Hard to believe. Sweetenham does well, the 19-year-old. Back here towards O'Halpine. Ready to take off again. He's done well in this match. But there's still a lot of work to be done. It's a game to be won by both these teams yet. Tony Brown. Big, huge one in towards Shane Welch. Stephen McDonald does much better this time. Gets the left hand to it, plays it back, and it's swept out once again by Shane O'Neill, all the way back down into the inside forwards. Cian McCarthy trying to make inroads. Stopped in there by Stephen Daniels, the CIT student. And he goes after it himself and gets there ahead of Paddy O'Sullivan. On his hands and knees, the number 2, and the De La Salle man gets it back as far as Philip Mahoney, and it really hots up at Semple Stadium in this All-Ireland quarter-final. Second one to come at 4 o'clock, of course. Here's Stephen McDonald. And now every one of the strong characters in both teams coming to the fore here, demonstrating everything they've got in a bid to reach Croke Park in the semi-final. That's Pádraig Mahoney stepping into the... He strikes it well, and he strikes it accurately, and he's got a third.
Well, that's a brilliant score. Great work there by Seamus Prendergast when Stephen McDonald was coming out. He stopped him with a fair shoulder, and a lovely score by Pádraig Mahoney. That's 3 points from play now for him. Sean Hogan's having a good second half, but Pádraig Mahoney is still necking over a couple of points.
Waterford by a point. Kevin Moran hooked. Cian McCarthy doing the hooking. It was carried out by Kevin Moran. It's got to be a line ball for Cork, and possession now going to be so vital in the remaining quarter of this match, and how both teams use every opportunity that comes their way. It's become a very intense battle. Two sides regularly meeting in the Championship, Munster Championship or All-Ireland Series. Darren Sweetenham cuts it in there to 13 metres. Back out it comes again to Noel Connors. Dodges away from the challenges. Out as far as Philip Mahoney. Pressurised by Colin. Doesn't get an awful lot of length in that. Not aided by the breeze in his face as well. Malumphey gets there, drives it forward. Inside towards Owen McGrath, lets it beat him. Out comes Shane Welch. In comes Maurice Shanahan. The defence go after him. Down goes Shanahan. And it's a free in. And it's a chance for Waterford to put a couple of points between the teams.
Shane Welch there coming across and took a heavy knock.
Well, they're great pictures. It's not an Olympic event, is it?
No, but
skydiving.
Absolutely, but it was a hard hit, and Shane Welch, you know, he doesn't go down easily, and he looks to be in a bit of bother.
Yeah, certainly seems like he's feeling the effects of that.
But I was just mentioning, Jerry, a few minutes ago, you just get the feeling that, Cork are just, they're staying, there's only a point in it, obviously they're not doing anything majorly wrong, but there's just lacking that little bit of intensity that you'd expect. Waterford, are making the most of it. Waterford have stronger, maybe more experienced leaders on their team, and they're all coming to the fore, as you mentioned a moment ago. So really, Cork at the same time, you'd imagine they may look more likely to score another goal. Waterford are dependent on tapping over the odd point to stay in it, and maybe Cork will create another goal chance before the end, but there's nothing in it, and this is the pattern over the last 10 or 15 years between Cork and Waterford. There's never anything in it.
Shane Welch is back up on his feet again, as you can see, and Maurice Shanahan is ready once more. He put over a 65, and this isn't too far out, so he won't make a mistake with that. An eighth for Maurice Shanahan, and now Waterford lead by 17 points to 112. That's Waterford by 2, heading into the last 16 minutes at Semple Stadium. And again, it's Waterford to come out and win that Cork puck out. And Stephen Malumphey from the pass by Philip Mahoney up towards Shane Welch. Stephen MacDonald comes out, avoids Kevin Moran, somehow plays it down. Jamie Colin trying to keep it away from Michael Brick-Welch, and he handled it 3 times. An elementary mistake, as you mentioned, Michael. There's a lot of experience on the Waterford side. Cork.
Yep. But at this level, Jerry, sometimes under pressure a player might do that, but he had so much time on the ball. All he had to do was deliver it. Like, he picked it up here, he turned back. All he had to do, there's twice, a little tap into his hand, and again, he just, if an under 12 did that, should be given out to him.
Cork are about to introduce Stephen Moylan from Douglas, as Tony Brown hits this from his own half of the field. It's a huge one in the sunshine of Semple Stadium. Nobody able to get quite the necessary finish to that for Waterford, but it's Owen McGrath once again recycling it cleverly back to Milan, and Milan over his right shoulder and over the bar. A second for John Milan. Waterford on their way to the All-Ireland semi-finals. They're ahead by 18 points to 112, and there are 15 minutes left.
Yeah, Noel McGrath showing all his experience there. He's a great team player. He's not a great striker of the ball himself. He scores very little, but he looked out straight into John Milan's hand, and he made it difficult for himself. He headed into the corner, but still Milan can do it, and straight over the black spot.
Well, Stephen Moylan is the one who has come on, and the player who's gone on, I think, is the goal scorer, Jamie Colin. So that's a 4th change now made by Cork. Waterford have made just one switch so far. That's introducing Owen McGrath, started the second half, and as we watch what's going on in the Waterford half of the field, there's concern, not just on the Cork bench. Jimmy Barry Murphy there in chatting with his mentors, but it looks like Shane Welch is in serious difficulty. Is he going to be able to continue? And what a loss he would be, because he's played the game so wisely.
He has on the field so much, and maybe he has a pair of shorts with him. He could go in there for the last 15. He looks fit enough to, anyway.
He certainly does. And the player who's going to come on here is going to be Shane Casey, number 26. So that's a big loss.
It's a huge loss. He's had a super game for Waterford. He's still there now. They haven't substituted him yet.
Cork tried to pressurise. Out comes the man who's just got in there, Stephen Moylan, and that has gone to the right, and it's gone wide. He got a couple of points against Offaly, and they're disputing it down on the line. They're saying that it was in and not out.
There's 5 or 6 linesmen down there now, 3 or 4 from Waterford waving it wide, and the Cork lads looking for the score. I thought it was wide from here, we're right behind it.
Well, there is Shane Casey. He's got on now, and it's indeed Shane Walsh who's had to leave.
Yeah, it looked like a dead leg, and as I say, he's had a super game. He's won an awful lot of 50-50 balls, and they're tough balls to win, and he's going to be a big loss to Waterford.
Well, it's there to be won at this stage still, but it's advantage Waterford, and it's Kevin Moran outside to Milan, tight angle, and he's missed it. Not much in it. Worth having a go, however. And still the margin is 3 points.
Yeah, it was good intelligent play by Kevin Moran. He knew that the sharpshooter was on his shoulder, and he laid it off and uncharacteristic wide. Cork
are not winning their own puckouts at all in this second half. The target there was Park Cronin. But if you look at it again here,
absolutely brilliant catch. Park Cronin behind his man, and he's gone into I think in around wing forward now. He's gone out of the game in the second half, and Kevin Moran and Stephen Malumphey have completely taken over in the middle of the field, particularly Malumphey in the second half. He's been everywhere.
That was an absolutely wonderful bit of fielding there. Philip Mahoney getting in there, and the arm was caught. You could see that, and the referee saw it as well. And it's got to be a free to Waterford. And at this stage, everything is going right for Waterford, and Cork are lacking a bit of leadership out there.
Well, they are. Well, that's what I thought Waterford would have coming into the game. Michael Walsh, Kevin Moran, Stephen Malumphey, John Milan. They do it every day. Seamus Prendergast. Whereas Cork don't have those players at this stage. A lot of the older team are gone, and they need, they're going to need a flash of brilliance from somewhere now, because Waterford are in control of the game at the moment.
Maurice Shanahan's about to take this. Cork are about to make a 5th substitution. Shanahan drops it in, and it's gone to drop to the left, and it's gone wide. 3 between them still, and as you can see, we've 11 minutes left, and coming in for Cork will be Lorcan McLaughlin, and the player to leave will be Cian McCarthy. That's the entire half forward line that started this match, now replaced, which gives you an indication of just where the problems were.
Yeah, well, they're getting very little. Their full forward line look very sharp. I've said that a number of times, but they're not getting the ball into them.
Mackelbrick Walsh breaks it down here, out to Kevin Moran, but it comes knocked in, away on the solo run, nobody to catch him, and he's put it over, and that's one back. Cathal Naughton.
Yeah, that's a super point. That's why he's on the field, to use his pace, but that's the first time he's got on the ball since he's come on, and good score off his right side. Just, you won't catch him when he gets up head of steam.
Certainly won't. His one and only goal in the championship came against Waterford in Croke Park. Puck out by Stephen O'Keefe. Rising up for it there and breaking it down was John Gardner. So once again it's Cathal Naughton. All 5 subs now being used. One-handed forward. Driven with determination there by Lorcan McLaughlin. Just in! And the keeper does well. Stephen O'Keefe kept cool under pressure, and he had to do so. He had Steve Moylan in there applying the pressure on him. Also Luke O'Farrell, great piece of goalkeeping.
Yeah, Ger, that was a great catch under pressure. He kept his eye on the ball all the way there, and Luke O'Farrell was right in on top of him, but Stephen O'Keefe took a great catch and he was fouled coming out.
Well, a chance to just redo the helmet, use up a second or two, allow his colleagues further out the field to just settle into the next 9 minutes rather, of the challenge. Referee is calling back Stephen Moylan. It was that challenge maybe on the goalkeeper, dragging him down as he was coming out, and that's a yellow card for the Cork number 26. Free to Waterford at the end of all of that. Stephen O'Keefe taking it, targeting Cormac Mahoney. Out came O'Halpine, gets it back down into the Waterford half of the field again. No going across, steady as you like, trying to go by 2 players, out as far as Malumphey, blocked there. Moylan not quite sure where that one was going to end up, nor was anybody else. And again the pile up, and the referee will have to end it by throwing the ball in. Well, it's very much looking like Waterford, but can they hold out with another 8 minutes still to go? A lead of 18 points to 1 goal and 13. That's rolled up by Philip Mahoney. Little hand pass forward here as far as Seamus Prendergast. Kevin Moran now using that experience, using that intelligence, in as far as Owen McGrath, he let it drop. And the block was on the clearance by Shane O'Neill, and it's a puck out for Cork. And there, just in that
that could be a huge incident in this game. You know, he'd made a great run in behind. In fairness to Shane O'Neill, I think he would have covered him maybe for the goal, but he should have really just caught that ball and at least tapped it over the bar. But Shane O'Neill was covering back goal side of him.
It remains just a 2-point game. Waterford had a great chance there. Paul Cronin here, and he's knocked it from a big distance to the right, and he's put it wide, and another waste of possession by Cork.
Yeah, it's a very strange game. Jared, Waterford or Cork are playing very poorly, but they're only 2 points behind, and there's still 7 minutes to go, so they've lots of time. You'd normally expect Paul Cronin just to tap that over the bar, but you know, they've made an awful lot of changes. I don't know, there doesn't seem to be any fluency to their play, any pattern, yet they're only 2 points down.
Cork with 7 wides. They have it again. Lorcan McLaughlin in midfield. Big one down. Lawler comes out, does well, missed by Michael Brick-Walsh. Regained here by Luke O'Farrell. O'Farrell again going through, and this time hauled down, and the referee says free in, and a chance for Cork now to put just one between the teams.
You know, Cork are the younger team. They haven't, as I say, played well, but they are young. They have plenty of taste. They brought on a number of subs there now that can cause, you know, Cathal Naughton and Stephen Moylan fresh legs up front, and you know, only a point in it now after this free.
There will be a great deal of anxiety and nervousness among the Waterford followers here. There were 3 ahead. They were looking much the better team, but right now Patrick Horgan has got a 5th point from a free, and the 24-year-old captain, in the absence of Donald O'Cusack, has put his team within 1 point of the leaders Waterford. 18 points to 114. As you can see, we're in the 65th minute. Stephen O'Keefe's puck out. Waterford hoping to win this. Cork get it back. It's Darren Sweetnam once again. The young man who did his leaving cert this year, taking off, dishing it off as far as Luke O'Farrell. Angle tricky, making a better one for himself. He's confident, he's composed, and he's put it over. And the teams are level for the 8th time. 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, great run there by Darren Sweetnam. We mentioned the subs coming on. Luke O'Farrell probably hadn't made the run with him, but he still managed to catch the ball. He should have been on his shoulder more, and he tapped it over the bar. Lovely score, and he's been very, very good. That's just his first score, but he's looked great all day. Very dangerous.
Now who's your money on? Waterford looking to win this one, and they do, and it's Malumphy, former team captain, out here as far as Porrick Mahoney, pursued there by Cathal Naughton, all the way back as far as Tony Brown. 65 metres from the target, and again Owen McGrath was going in towards it, but stumbled, lost his footing, and it's a puck out to Cork. That opportunity he had, that second, when he just couldn't quite catch the ball, if there were a goal on there, could have turned the match.
It was a huge moment, yeah, but Cork now back level, win behind them, you know, and have a little bit of momentum now.
Noel Connors has it. Out as far as Malumphy, he's driving everything forward. Across came Tom Kenny, didn't get to it. Seamus Prendergast does for Waterford, middle of the park. Little block on it there by John Gardner, just enough to take the heat out of it. O'Halpine, forward here as far as Paul Cronin. Into the unmarked Patrick Horgan. Horgan with a tight angle confronting him, hits it high. Umpires have a think about it, and they raise the white flag, and Cork are leading the match. Patrick Horgan's got a 6th. And the Glen Rovers man has made it 116 to 18. That's Cork by a point.
Yeah, Pat Cronin down, and Pat Horgan did for all good for it. He hit it so high, I don't think there was any way of calling where it was, and over the bar, and Cork now take the lead and finishing strongly.
And the substitutes they have brought from the bench are making a much bigger difference to this game than Waterford's subs have made. That one is hit in by Naughton, and it's over the bar, and he's got a second. And are now Cork the ones heading towards the All-Ireland semi-final, something which seemed unlikely about 10 minutes ago. They lead by 2. From the puck out, it's taken once again here by Tom Kenny, pursued there by Owen McGrath, lost, regained here by Michael Brick-Walsh. 2 players for Waterford going for it. Milan was one of them, the other there couldn't get to it because John Gardner got there ahead of Kevin Moran, and it's driven to the middle of the field, and Philip Mahoney cleverly plays it as far as Michael Brick-Walsh. Well brought down by Stephen Moylan. Once again it is Michael Brick-Walsh and there is intensity there that wasn't there at the beginning of this match, but it's finishing in a wonderful sense of excitement here.
Yeah, great block down there by Stephen Moylan, travelled maybe 40 yards and blocked Brick Walsh, and I think probably lucky enough to win the free in. But you know, this is what we were predicting, that Cork would have those extra legs to bring off the bench and the more options. Shane Walsh got injured, that no one to bring. I thought maybe Owen Kelly, maybe at that stage for his experience, maybe should have been given maybe 5 minutes, but they seem to have run out of pace. They did a little bit too against Tipperary in the Munster final.
Only 2 subs introduced.
Only 2 subs, and now they're really scoring subs, or threats.
Maurice Shanahan hits this, Michael. It's a good one, as you say, and it's gone over, and we're back to a 1-point difference again. It's 117, that's 20 points to Waterford's 19, and there are now, 2 minutes left, plus additional time. The referee had a word with his linesman, James McGraw. We'll see the board in just a moment. Waterford are about to bring in another sub. They're about to bring in Richie Foley, number 17. He's not on yet. Who wins the next one? It's Pat Cronin who won it, and then lost it. And it's taken up here by Cork's number 9, Pat Cronin, once again, slipping it back there. O'Halpine has it blocked, gets it back again. How he'd love to score here on his comeback to the championship, on his first start in the championship for 2 years. Sean O'Halpine puts it over the bar. He got his first ever point in championship hurling against Waterford some years ago, and he's got the latest here now, and there are 2 between them, and Richie Foley's come on. That's number 17.
Yeah, that was first of all, a great block down by Pádraig Mahoney, and back to Sean Hogan. You could see the determination there, and I think the biggest roar of the day when that one sailed over the bar. Great score from Sean Hogan.
Tony Brown's gone off for Richie Foley to come on. Cork have it again. And it's Paulie O'Sullivan, stopped by Stephen Daniels, comes back out here as far as Michael Brick Walsh, spoons it outside here as far as Richie Foley, his first touch since coming on a few moments ago. Now it's up to the Waterford forwards to get possession. They can still do some damage here. Here's an opportunity, and it's gone wide. A horrible miss by Shane Casey. Oh dear. I'm sure the Waterford fans were thinking, if this hits the back of the net, we're ahead by a point with time almost up on the 70. There's got to be 2 minutes of added time played.
He had options left and right just to lay off a little hand pass. There was 2 men free on both his right and left hand side. Little hand pass, goal was on, and wrong option completely.
Waterford unlucky, Cork got lucky, but there's still 2 minutes to be played, and we're almost into that stoppage time at this stage. Michael Brick Walsh comes out with it. They can still rescue this game, Waterford. Cork want to deny them, and another one of the subs, Lochlan McLaughlin, making a grand stand there right in the middle of the park, refusing to yield to Waterford pressure. And 15 seconds into stoppage time, it's 118. That's 21 points to Waterford's 19, and Waterford, you feel at this stage, will need a goal.
They will, but they haven't looked like scoring a goal all day. That was the best chance the whole thing opened up there, and Shane Casey really just needed to give a little pass over the top, and then I don't know what he did, he got caught in 2 minds and just hit out a harmless wide for a finish up. But Cork have showed good resolve. They didn't play well for a long time, but when the game mattered in the last 10 minutes, they got a grip, and looks like they've done enough now.
As Patrick Horgan, the captain, strikes it from the middle of the park and puts it over for his 7th point of the match. There are 3 between them. It's Cork's to lose. Only a minute still to go. Waterford now chasing this one. Noel Connors from the puck out, trying to get it forward. It's gone out over the sideline. It's a line ball to Cork. 1 minute of added time still to be played. A goal the margin. She's happy. The Cork fans will be happy if their team can get to Croke Park, where they may be playing Galway. That will depend, of course, on the result of the second quarter-final here, which you can get at 4 o'clock. Kilkenny against Limerick. Dara Maloney and Tomas Mulcahy ready to bring you that. Darren Sweetnam. 3 between them. Out it comes to Michael Brick Walsh. 30 seconds to go. They need to get it down the field. Richie Foley. Just to midfield, however. Kevin Moran. Quick look up. They need a goal here. There are 2 players on the ground, and that's just gone out over the end line off the stick of Owen McGrath, but via defender, and it's gone for a 65. They'll protest about it.
Well, I think they're protesting. John Milan was pulled straight onto the ground there by Brian Murphy when the ball was being played in. He just got his 2 arms around him, and Milan has gone into the umpire saying, why didn't they call the foul?
Let's have a look at this again here and where it happened.
just there on our screen. You can see them hitting the deck there, and
that's just outside, isn't it? Just outside the square.
But they're saying it should have been a free, at least not had a shot at it. And we saw a couple of years ago here when Tony Brown came up and scored a late goal from a free. It rebounded out from a free, but they're not going to get it here today.
Well, they're going to lob it in, and Richie Foley, the 2 minutes, indeed 2.5 minutes of time has now been played. Goal between them. It's got to be here for Waterford. It strikes the post, comes down, and it's away by Nocton. And Cork get a let off, and they await the whistle. It still hasn't come. There's still a few seconds left. Intense pressure by Waterford. That's got to be left there for Richie Foley to hit again. It's got to go in if Waterford are to stay in the championship. Otherwise it's Cork for the semi-finals. That's deflected away. There's the whistle, and Cork have beaten Waterford, and they have qualified for the All-Ireland hurling semi-final under manager Jimmy Barry Murphy and his team. John Milan cursing his luck. They might have had a late free there from which they might have done something. They had other opportunities. There were times when they dominated this match, but Cork used their bench well. Jimmy Barry Murphy made the right substitutions, and they had power in many parts of the field, and in the end there was a goal between the teams.
Yeah, Gerard, really the story of the game to me, Waterford had the better individual players, they had better leaders, but they didn't have the strength and depth. And I've said that during the week, that they had 11 or 12 very good players, a few weaknesses, and then nobody really to bring in off the bench. Whereas Cork have an abundance of talent, a lot of lads not going that well, a lot of things not going right for them on the day. It's getting it very hard to get good first time ball into their full forward line. But at the end of the day, they were able to bring on Darren Sweeten, made a big impact in the middle of the field. John Gardner solidified things at the back, and Cathal Nocton scored a couple of points from play. So in the modern game, the bench is very important. So a good win for Cork, not playing great, and Waterford again a very spirited display.
A goal between the teams at the end, and that all-important goal was scored after 16 minutes by Jamie Colin, and it's finished at Semple Stadium here in Thurles. Cork 119, Waterford 19 points.
In the commentary box for our first game today were Ger Canning and Michael Dignan, and down under the stand right now is the Cork manager Jimmy Barry Murphy. He's talking to Gary McDonough.
Jimmy, heart and mouth stuff?
Yeah, it was a good win in the end. I didn't think we played particularly well, and we made heavy work for the times, but I thought we showed a bit of character at least coming back in the last 10 minutes when we looked in big trouble, and got some great points to edges ahead. But as I said, I didn't think we played particularly well today.
I mean, after 59 minutes you were 3 points down, but then you brought on some fresh legs and really changed things.
Yeah, certainly the impetus of new subs coming in certainly seemed to help us, and I think Waterford had a bit between their teeth at that stage, but I think we just managed to have the win with us, which was a big help in the end, I think.
Games like this really bring a team on, and it's a semi-final now.
Well, we're delighted to be there. I don't think our display today would trouble Galway, to be perfectly honest with you, but we'll improve, I hope, for the win, and as you say, any win certainly brings you a team on, I think, and the manner of the victory was what most pleased me.
OK, Jamie, thanks a million. Congratulations.
Yeah, victorious Cork manager Jimmy Barry Murphy here with me in studio. Liam Sheedy and Ger Loughnane. That had a draw written all over for a long time, Ger.
It sure has, yeah, but I suppose in the long history of great games between these teams, this one ranked very high among them. But now, for a long time in the second half, it looked more like a league match because the intensity was very, very low, the hurling was very, very poor and scrappy. But it did end in the last 10 minutes in a welter of excitement. I think the real turning point was when Shane Casey at full forward went off after 56 minutes. He was creating absolute havoc inside in the full forward line. Any ball that went into him, he looked really, really dangerous, and the subs that the Waterford came on were just not up to that standard. Now on the other side, look at the subs that Cork brought on. Darren Sweetman at midfield, he just cleaned up when he came there. They were struggling to win ball before he came there, and Cathal Nocton caused a lot of trouble in the half-forward line, and not alone that, but he cleared the ball off the line in the very last minute as well. So in a very, very tight game, I suppose Cork will be happy that they showed that bit of character to come from 3 points down to win by 2 points by scoring. So they finished really, really well. So it'll give them a bit of encouragement going to Croke Park, but they have to improve an awful lot if they have to make any impression when they get there.
Cork just got that one period in that second half where they were banging over 2 or 3 points together, and that just changed everything.
Yeah, it did. That's the thing about Cork. They're really, they're on the road a long time, some of these players, and I felt that when Waterford went to 3 points up, John Mullane had a chance to make it 4 and it would have made a big difference. But in fairness to Cork, you know, they only scored 4 points in the first 25 minutes of that second half, but in the last 10 they managed to carve out 6 points. And you know, they brought on fresh legs, you know, and they did make the difference. But you know, when they started to open up, I thought Darren Sweetenham came in and got on a lot of ball in the middle of the field, and here he is, you know, good ball in. And you know, Cathal Naughton, another man that just come onto the field, and he's a man you'd love to see getting the ball in that position. That's his trademark point, coming in off that side, you know. Sean O'Halpine and first Philip Manny made a great block, but it came back out. And when you see that ball going over the bar with Sean O'Halpine, you were probably saying to yourself, this is going to be Cork's day, you know. But in fairness, they probably just about deserved it in the end. But Waterford will kick themselves, as I said. If they had to get that 4 points up, that could have been enough to finish off Cork, but it didn't happen.
And even when Cork did get that lead, Waterford had a couple of opportunities to come back into it again, and they did spurn them.
Well, it just showed the spirit that's in this Waterford team. They just never give up, and they had some great chances at the end. And most chances they got today were from long ball in like this. Unfortunately, when this ball went in, Shane Casey isn't inside. Shane Walsh isn't inside. And young Casey was just not as good at this type of ball. This was a terrific chance. You know, whether it was a 21-yard free or not is another matter. But you know, Owen McGrath, Shane Casey in there, in comparison to the full forward line that started, that was really their undoing at the end. But you know, in fairness to Waterford, they fought it out to the very end, created those chances. You know, they left nothing on the field. They gave it their very best. Everybody knows they're a team kind of that's on, you know, that we might see many of them around again. Yeah. But on their last day out here in Thurles, they have given it their absolute best. Cork move on now to Croke Park. Hopefully they will improve an awful lot in the next 2 weeks, because they will need to put it up to Galway. But at least they're there, and the big thing they have going on from here, 3 points down, looked as if they were beaten. Waterford didn't create that 4-point gap, which might have put it away, but that'll give them some encouragement going to Croke Park. But they'll need a lot more than that to beat Galway.
Okay, so Cork then are through to this year's All-Ireland hurling semi-finals, where they will probably face Galway. That'll depend of the second match. But who will be the second county through from today's games here at Semple Stadium? Kilkenny versus Limerick, coming up shortly.
It's going to be no handy game from now on.
Built a Limerick team that is built on passion.
There's no back door, there's nothing to let you back into this championship.
It's down by Joe Kelly! Wow! What a shocker in Croke Park!
Centra, sponsors of the GAA Hurling Championship.
Paddy O'Gorman travels Ireland to discover what people are doing to get away from it all.
Jobs are gone at the moment, it's tough. It's only for having hobbies and, you know, you'll be fairly bored.
O'Gorman, a new series, starts Tuesday at 7 on RTE1.
Be health smart. Switch your health insurance to Leia Healthcare now and you'll receive 2 months free. Leia Healthcare, looking after you always.
Celebrate the London 2012 Olympic Games with McDonald's. Get your free Coca-Cola glass and wristband with any large meal or premium salad.
When I travel, I don't have to pay for any baggage. I get all the benefits of first-class travel, and I can use my phone. Hello? I can surf the internet, relax. Or I can just chill out in the spa. No, I'm good. I call it a carcation. It's fantastic, like the ship.
Enjoy the greatest choice of routes and sailings and save up to 20% when you book early. Stanaline, making good time.
Summer Millionaire Raffle. One guaranteed millionaire on August 6th. Tickets sold out early last time. Don't miss your chance.
Mom is always saying, listen up. We